The Gospel according to Luke. Luke's Gospel was probably written about 85 through 90, perhaps only 5 or 10 years after the appearance of Matthew. Luke's narrative reproduces about half of Mark, along with generous portions of an unknown source we like to call Q, that Matthew also used for his Gospel. Luke also uses his own special source that we like to call L, which takes up about a third of his Gospel. Luke also wrote a sequel to his version of Jesus' life, the Book of Acts, which continues the story of Christian origins. In Luke's 2-volume set, Jesus' career is presented as the turning point in Israel's history, the beginning of an innovative religious movement that brings salvation to Greeks as well as Jews. In Luke Acts, Jesus is the model of service to others whose example of life is followed by many generations of disciples, including not only the apostles who founded the first church at Jerusalem, but also an unlimited number of Gentiles who form a multi-ethnic international community throughout the Roman Empire. So who wrote the Gospel of Luke? The Gospel of Luke is actually anonymous, but we think it was written by a doctor named Luke who was a traveling companion of Paul and not an eyewitness to Jesus' ministry. Who was the audience? Gentile Christians dispersed throughout the Roman Empire. The person to whom both Luke and Acts are dedicated, Theophilus, may have been a Greco-Roman government official, or because his name means beloved or a lover of God, he may be a symbol for the Gentile church. Luke's Gospel begins by introducing us to a priest named Zechariah who lived in Judea during the reign of Herod. He and his wife Elizabeth were both very old and unable to have children. Zechariah is chosen by Lot one year to go into the temple and burn incense to God. While inside, an angel named Gabriel appears to him and says that they will have a son and will name him John. He then quotes the prophet Malachi, saying that John is the Elijah who is to come, who will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, and will prepare the way for the Lord. Zechariah doesn't believe the angel and says, "I'm too old for this," and so Gabriel strikes him with muteness for the next 9 months until John is born. 6 months later, the angel Gabriel appears to a young virgin girl living in Nazareth in Galilee named Mary. Mary was pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. Gabriel tells her that she will become pregnant and give birth to a son, and she will name him Jesus, and he will be the Messiah, the Son of God, whose kingdom will never end. Mary wonders how she will get pregnant since she's a virgin, and Gabriel tells her that she will be impregnated by the Holy Spirit, and points out Mary's cousin Elizabeth's pregnancy as evidence of God's miraculous work. Mary goes and visits her cousin Elizabeth, and when she arrives, Elizabeth's baby jumps for joy in her womb when he hears Mary's voice. Luke also records the Song of Mary for us, also known as the Magnificat. Almost every word in Mary's song is a biblical quotation which she would have known from childhood. It echoes the song of Hannah in 1 Samuel 2, and much of Mary's song will be echoed by her son's preaching, as he warns the rich not to trust in their wealth, and promises God's kingdom to the poor. After John is born and Zechariah can speak again, Luke records Zechariah's song for us. It's a poem about God acting at last, finally doing what he promised many centuries ago, and doing it at a time when his people had had their fill of hatred and oppression. Zechariah's own story of 9 months' silence, suddenly broken at the naming of the child, is a reflection on a smaller scale of what was going on in the Israel of his day. Prophecy, many believed, had been silent for a long time. Now it was going to burst out again, to lead many back to a true allegiance to their God.